Hi there and welcome to our Gallop TV preview for the 2025 Golden Horse Speed Festival at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, Saturday the 31st of May. We have 10 races on the card and a bright early start to the first, the Chimichurri Run Maiden Juvenile Plate over 1100 meters. That goes at 10 past 11. I'm joined in the studio by D. Steinand. We'll introduce him in a moment, but before we get there, we have 10 horses carded for the first. Let's hear from Duncan Howells.
The Scarlet Cat's a very quick filly. I think she'll be far better suited to possibly 1,000 meters. She will be green and she will need this run. Olive Grove, also a quick filly, a little bit of a hot filly. I also feel will be better over 1,000 meters and also need the run and the experience.
So there we heard from Duncan Howells. He saddles two runners, number 3, the Scarlet Cat, and number 4, Olive Grove. Welcome to the studio, D's. A lot to get through, 10 races. The annual Speed Festival race day at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, featuring a jackpot of feature races, 500,000 rand carryover. We expect the pool to go beyond 1.5 million. We'll go through those jackpot legs a little later on, and a very competitive renewal of the Golden Horse Sprint in particular. But you were telling me off air, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but it's worth sharing, that number 2, Master Silvano, is, as per the comments in the computer form, expected to run well. He's currently very easy to back at around 8-1. But obviously quite a nice sort.
Yeah, you know, Graham, we're going in blind here in the first race, and I trust that all the racing fans are well. One of my favorite race meetings on the South African racing calendar and during champion season as well this Saturday, and it is a busy day, as you mentioned, Graham. Race number 1 doesn't form part of the exotics. Just the comments, you know, in the computer form, the ones that matter. Showing nice work is number 2, Master Silvano. If not too green, will be competitive. Speedy filly, you heard it from Duncan Howells, his horse. You know, may just need the experience. And then this nice comments from Trevor Brown as well. Fit and well for number 5. Smart Sort, number 7. So I think of the first timers, we'll just have to keep a very close eye on the betting. Yeah, you spoke about Master Silvano. You know, Stuart Ferry, Sean Veal rides for him if he's not riding for Hollywood Racing. But he was at me for Serena Mundi to ride this horse. He knows the brother very well. Proud master who's done superbly well for him. So he knows the family. And, you know, just reading between the lines, I think number 2, Master Silvano, is expected to run well first up. So, you know, of the first timers, that's the best I can do. But come race day, you know, possibly speak to these trainers. I'll be working on course and pass on that information. But of the race runners, Graham, I think Paul Matchett's runner is an absolute standout check considering that debut. And then, of course, Nathan Cotson's runner, World of Royalty, is open to any amount of improvement. So I think, you know, trifectas, quartets could be the way to go here. And just keep an eye on the betting market as well. But at the time of recording, number 2, Master of Silvano, is at 8-1. And then we got 5-1 about number 7, Fair 2, 3-1, number 5, World of Royalty. And doesn't surprise me that Let's Go Lola priced up at 12-10.
So there we go, the first race, the 2 previously raced runners, number 9, Let's Go Lola, and number 8, World of Royalty. They lead the market, but I have a feeling there could be significant changes to the betting. Interesting that from the comments, Trevor Brown seems to prefer number 5, Pied Piper, who's in double figures, over number 7, and Fair 2's at 5-1. But the betting will tell a story as we get closer to race time for the opener, which I remind you goes bright and early at 11:10.
Are we on to race number 2, which will kick off the bipot and the maiden plate for fillies and mares, 1,600 meters, and a competitive field. Horses that have some form are poorly drawn. Will be looking for a lot of luck in running, and maybe trainer Duncan Howells can lead us in the right direction.
I promised a fire and a cracker last time out. I got the impression she was out-sprinted in the race. A filly that's bred to go much further than a 1,400, possibly even up to 2,000 meters. I think the testing 1,600 at Scottsville will be in her favour, and I'm expecting a very good run from the filly.
Nice positive comments, and after those comments, no doubt this will be an inclusion for many racing fans in leg 1 of that bipod. Graham, I'll just have a look at the betting market before we have a discussion. Number 2, Fine Wine, is at 9-2. Number 3, Promise of Fire, Duncan Howell's runner. Good comments, 9-2. 4, Scarlet Heart, 7-1. 5, Terminal Velocity is at 5-1. And then the horses that will have it all to do from the draw, 12, Alex Miller, 5-1. There is money for Lucinda Woodruff, the Informed Stable. Number 13, Another Dream, 9-2 into 7-2. And number 14, Royal Mermaid, is at 7-1. Graham, it is a highly competitive start to the first exotic, which is the bipod. You know, these runners, numbers 12, 13, and 14, were better drawn. I think they'll be much shorter in the betting markers because they seem to fit, you know, the right profile to win in this type of field. But I like a horse here, Graham, and mostly because of the draw and the pedigree. Number 2, Fine Wine. Watched this individual over shorter, 1,200 meters, looked up the dam. She only won from a mile up to 2,200 meters. The siblings won over 2,200 and 2,400 meters. So whilst the form lines are not attractive if you pull them out, the fact is God has given this individual 2 good warm-up runs over shorter, and the way she's finished off those races, Graham. And remember that she started off her career very late as a 4-year-old, so there's been patience from the owners. I think they're going to be rewarded on Saturday. 1,600 is going to suit her beautifully.
There's no doubt about that. I think the outcome might rest between the 2 daughters of Futura. Number 2, Fine Wine, who's, as you mentioned, is better drawn. Lucinda Woodruff's runner, number 13, Another Dream, a year younger, 3-year-old daughter Futura. She was also given time to strengthen up. She had her first 3 starts over sprint trips. She ran well enough to suggest she's above average, and she was crying out for the ground. She got it over 1,500 meters at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, but she never really got into the race from a hopeless draw at Hollywoodbets Durbanville. She's drawn badly again, which is going to make a job a little tougher. So I'm with you, number 2, Fine Wine. I would include that along with number 13, Another Dream, in the opening leg of the bipod, and then Respect for what Duncan Howells has to tell us regarding number 3, Promise of Fire. She is slowly coming to hand. She was touched off by Sheshan Tombi. There were a couple of others that were behind her on that occasion. She's also drawn nicely, and she's got a pedigree that suggests as she matures, so she will get better. As you say, Alex Miller and Royal Mermaid got it all to do from those draws. So for me, number 2, Fine Wine, from 13, Another Dream, and 3, Promise of Fire. And I would be almost tempted to include all 3 in the bipod, but I know you're pretty strong on number 2, Fine Wine, and she should give you a very good run for your money.
I think Graham is spot on with number 13 as the cover in the bipod with number 2, Fine Wine. So one that's drawn 2, the other that's drawn 13. And if you pull out the form line of Another Dream, you'll see that it spells winners. And the most recent was Papillon Blue that won at Hollywoodbets Greyville. I think those 2 runners good enough here for the bipod racing fans. Number 2, Fine Wine, and number 13, Another Dream.
We move on to race 3, which is the opening leg of the Place Accumulator. It's a Battle Force 2021 Class 4 fillies and mares handicap over 1,600 meters. Place Accumulator windows close at 12:20. Once again, we're going to hear from Duncan Howells. He saddles number 1, Princess Palace, and also number 9, Xena Rose. Let's hear what he's got to offer.
Princess Palace, she's been a bit disappointing. She doesn't seem to finish her races off. Last time out she missed the break, and she's a filly that likes to race handy. She doesn't really quicken in a race. So I think stepping up to the 1,600 meters at Scottsville will suit her. Also taking the blinkers off. I just don't think it's helped the filly. And on best ability she can run into the first 4. Xena Rose, she had an extremely good race last time out. She's a filly that likes to race with cover. So I'm not particularly worried about the draw. Obviously she's always dictated to by pace in a race. But if she doesn't find cover early in a race, she tends to over-race. She'll be running on at the finish. She did get quite a hefty penalty for running second last time out. Not in her favour, but I think if things go according to plan and she has luck in running, she can run into the first 4.
So reading between the lines there, Duncan Howells harbours a clear preference for number 9, Xena Rose. The blinkers come off number 1, Princess Palace, hoping for improvement. Now this is a tough Class 4 fillies and mares handicap over 1,600 metres. Number 2, Princess Ilaria at 9-2. Number 5, One Smart Cookie at 5-1. 6, Streisand is at 11-2. 10, Phasar, who's in competitive form at the moment, that's at 6-1. Those are the runners that are quoted in single figures, D's. A tough race, obvious potential for an upset. But it's interesting that the blinkers come off number 5, One Smart Cookie. Richard Faree goes on. Of course, there's still an opportunity for Tinny Prinsloo to declare the blinkers after we've recorded the show, which, as you know, everybody knows, is more than 24 hours ahead of the race meeting. But I really like the way this 4-year-old daughter of Lancaster Bomber has gone about her business recently.
Yeah, I just have a slight concern with the distance, Graham, when it comes to number 5, One Smart Cookie. Not that she's run badly over 1,600 meters, but she seems to, save her best over a bit shorter, and she has to lump 61.5 kgs over a distance that she hasn't won. But if you pull out a form line, you'll have to include her because Wozanawa has since won again. Ubekwe Bazana has won as well. So the form line is good, but I have a slight concern with the distance. But if anyone can, Richard Faree can. So for the place accumulator, Graham, if you want to try and get through the minimum spend here, it's going to be very tough. I'm suggesting 4 runners minimum. Princess Ilaria comes into the race with some solid Gauteng form. Gavin Arena has had tries on her before. He hasn't won on her, but he's run places with her, so he knows her well. A horse like Streisand, I know the boys from Gauteng, Dylan Chinsami and the guys, they've got a few runners on the day. This horse, having chatted to Robin Klaasen early on in her career, I'm going to say she's an underachiever because she expected her, to possibly win more than 2 races thus far, but she showed her best last time out when she was punted. She's a decent filly, rated by the yard. And then number 10, Phaser for Garrett Van Zyl, always seems to save her best for this track. And 11, Radu, Wendy Whitehead's runner. From that last start, Prom Queen has won, and just the other day, we both liked a horse called Buttercup Baby that's come through to win from that form line. So although she's poorly drawn, the way she's racing, number 11, Radu, I'll include her in all bets. So, not in order of preference, rather in numerical order, I'll go 2, 6, 10, and 11 here, Graham, for the place accumulator. And if it's a double up, it's an absolute bonus.
So there we go. It is a trappy start to the place accumulator. These Class 4 fillies and mares handicaps can be very challenging. 11 Radu that Dee's mentioned probably offers very good each-way value despite the outside draw. But all of numbers 2, Princess Ilaria, 5, One Smart Cookie, I think she'll get the trip. Dees and I obviously not in the same camp as far as that thought is concerned, but that's okay. 6 Streisand, 10 Phaser. Phaser also brings really good form into the race. So it's not an easy start to the place accumulator. I think you need to include at least 3 of the ones we've mentioned.
Well, we're on to race number 4. It's the big one, the Pick 6. And on this race day, with quality racing, 3 Group 1s and a Group 2, you're expecting a sizable pool, and it should get to a respectable amount on this Saturday. It's 1,600 meters, it's a Class 4, and we need all the help. So maybe it's Dean Canamere and Justin Snate going to tell us a bit more about their runners.
Yeah, it was a very nice run. Michael Lecoq's horse was just too good for him on the day. But I was pleased with his run, and not a great draw 11. I was saying to owners, you've got to get lucky from that draw. However, you've got to include him. He's doing well, and just hope it's a good genuine run race up front, and we'll just take it from there. But he's doing well.
Yeah, look, it's very much it's a very tough draw because sadly at Scottsville you don't make up much ground. It's become a track where the first 4 horses that come into the straight from around the turn are normally the winner comes from there, which my horses like to turn it on, and there's just no acceleration in a straight at Scottsville. So if he was drawn well, best bet on the card for me. Of his rating, if he had cracked a better draw, for me, best bet on the card. From that draw, a little bit more tricky. And if he does overcome the draw, then certainly got to go into everything. He is flying at home.
He's reserve 1. He's had quite a lengthy break. Towards the end of the summer, I threw him on the farm for a while and brought him back. And I just haven't, I've been trying to find the right race for him. He's a 2,000 meter horse, but I didn't want to go straight into a 2,000 meter race. So I thought I'd run him in a 1,600, 1,400, but he's a reserve runner, and but all good with him.
Some valuable information coming through from both trainers, especially Justin Snaith. Now, one has to give credit to Justin because last week when he was on the show, he said the best value in the race, Little Susie, she obliged, she was backed and she delivered. And he's got some positive comments about this horse, Graham, number 14, Gran Canaria. If she was drawn better, best bet on the card. Well, we'll leave the draw to Andrew Fortune then, Graham, because last time out he'd done a superb job with this individual when poorly drawn to Shed the Maiden, beating Pioneer Spirit, as Pioneer Square, who has still come out to win. White Seahorse has come out to win and has run well post-maiden. So I'm going to leave the draw to Andrew Fortune and purely go on those comments now from Justin Snaith, because I was on the fence from the draw with number 14, Gran Canaria. But when Justin says that the horse is flying, that's the word he used back home, I think big talk there, Graham. Big talk there.
Yeah, he's a really nice horse. I've liked Gran Canaria from day one. I've seen him race in the Western Cape. He ran second to Native Ruler in his second start. And in fact, he was expected to beat Native Ruler on that occasion. And of course, Native Ruler's progressed. So if you applied retrospective handicapping, he wouldn't be racing of an 80. And as you heard there from Justin Snaith, of this rating, number 14, Gran Canaria should get the job done. What stands in his way, the well-documented outside barrier position. So he's going to need some luck in running, but good horses overcome adversity, and he might be a league ahead of this field. But there are others with chances. Obviously, it's not a one-horse race. Number 7, Terminator, very good form coming into the race. Better drawn in gate 7, and Kweli was a runaway winner over Gurkha last time. He has gone up 8 pounds in the rating, but certainly on the evidence of that form, he should again have the measure of Gurkha, who himself is not that well drawn. So you've got to draw your own conclusions here. You take your chances in the first leg of the pick 6 if you want to from the outside gate, and banker number 14, Gran Canaria, who at 6-1 offers very good each way value. I fancy that he will shorten despite the draw. I fancy that number 14, Gran Canaria, will shorten from his current odds of 6-1 as race time approaches. But there's, we can say it over and over and over again. He has the talent. He's off a very competitive rating. He's a very good horse in the making. Only the race will tell whether he overcomes the draw.
Okay, let's summarize leg 1 of the pick 6. I agree. Number 7, Terminator, in form stable, in form combination, and the horse is in form. That penalty does worry me about number 8 in Kwele, but that said, well, the handicapper's got a job to do and you're going to have to be the judge. Don't leave that out of the pick 6, as Graham mentioned. We also give Gurkha a mention, and number 14, Gran Canaria. If you're looking for upsets, guys, there are 3 horses that I'll give you. Play them into quartets and trifectas. 10 Lucky Dollar, who I'm of the opinion, and having a word with Serena Mudli, the horse needed the run last time out. Good effort. 12 Blackberry Bees ran 10 lengths behind a very good horse called Okavango, but there were excuses last time out. Just read the comments in the computer form, cast a shoe, etc. with number 12 Blackberry Bees, I think ready to possibly run well. And then down by the river, if you're looking to follow a form line, you're going to have to follow that form line behind Voldemort, because there's no less than 4 winners that have come out from there. So there are roughies that could possibly spoil things if there is going to be a result. But after those comments from Justin Snaith, many may be looking towards Gran Canaria as a banker in at least the place accumulator.
Race 5 is the Alan Robertson Championship Grade 1 for 2-year-old fillies over 1,200 metres. The off time is 13:30. And this is the first leg of the carryover jackpot, 500,000 Rand carryover. We're expecting the jackpot pool for jackpot 1 to exceed 1.5 million Rand. Now, the betting has it as a match race between Direct Hit and One Fine Winter. More about that in a moment. But before we get to our discussion, we have a rerun of Elegantrix winning the Godolphin Barb, and there are a few runners behind Elegantrix that run on this card that you'll want to take note of. And we have an interview package with Justin Snaith, Duncan Howells and Dean Kannemeyer.
Continues to lead it. Good for user runner. Mulsbury Missile on the inside, and I'm a Fireball is still right there. But Elegantrix and Good for You over the last 200. Military Command comes out, but down the inside, Elegantrix and yes, Good for You. These are the 2. Elegantrix and Good for You. There's nothing in it. Eyeball to eyeball, coming down to the line. I think Elegantrix from Good for You, and third place Mulberry Missile.
Yeah, and that day it was quite sticky. Also, she was just in need of the run a bit, and that was a prep for this race. She's doing very well at home. Obviously, very competitive race. I'm not a big one on these Scottsville sprints, so let's see how she goes. As I said, she's doing well at home. Could easily be in the money, but there's normally some horse that's been hurried up and set up for this race. I've done the best I possibly can, so let's hope for a positive run.
Hierarchy's done nothing wrong in her 2 runs. She needed her first run. It was also in very soft ground. Her next start she improved as we expected her to do. And obviously we are taking up a step in class, but I feel what is in her favour is possibly going up to the 1200 metres. She's a filly that races very relaxed. She quickens up well, and she finishes off her races very well. It's like I say, it is a big jump in class, but I think the filly is competitive, and I think she'll give a good account of herself.
Yes, we were disappointed with that performance. She won very well first time out. It wasn't a particularly strong race, but she couldn't do more than win. And then the next run, I don't think the conditions were that great that day when she ran. And there were quite a few horses, I think, went out the back door. We had quite a lot of rain, I think, that week. So I've got to be fair to her. So it'll be a good test against the other 2-year-old fillies. There's some that are proven. One or two from Johannesburg, or Sean Terry's filly was, if you look the way she's won, brilliant performances. But some of them, they win and you don't know how good they are. Some improve, some have come early, so you never know who's got scope and hasn't got scope. But all is good with her, and sort of want to put a line through our last run.
So there we heard from Duncan Howells, Justin Snaith and Dean Cannemeyer, all looking to upset the party, along with a few others looking to upset the party. And the party has 2 principals at the table: the unbeaten number 10 Direct Hit, the East Cape champion. She went to Kenilworth to win the Cape Nursery, blowing them away on that occasion. She comes up against the Sean Terry runner One Fine Winter, who comes to the races with a sound record, although Alan Greef will have a fair idea, because when One Fine Winter ran second in the SA Nursery, she was put in her place by another Greef runner, Golden Palm. Alan Greef has had a wonderful season with his 2-year-olds, winning nurseries in the Eastern Cape, the Western Cape, and of course on the Highveld. And now, of course, it's the Grade 1 Alan Robertson Fillies Championship. So, Dees, first question. Is it absolutely a 2-horse race between Direct Hit and 5 One Fine Winter, bearing in mind that both come to Hollywoodbets Scottsville for the first time, have no previous racetrack experience, which does count somewhat in the favour of the Godolphin Barb winner number 7 Elegantrix? There's a school of thought that obviously racing experience at Hollywoodbets Scottsville is key to the outcome of the Festival of Speed races, but which way are you leaning?
I'm playing the exotics with those 2 runners. Just the betting number 5 is at 18-10, 7 Elegantrix at 8-1, and then a 10 Direct Hit at 13-10. That's the way the market's got them. I'll play the exotics with 5 and 10, but it wouldn't surprise or shock me, as we've seen this before on this race day, where results are possible, especially in these juvenile features. Number 10 Direct Hit. You mentioned the record of Alan Greef, Graham, winning those feature races in Gauteng and the Western Cape, and of course Golden Palm taking a place in the Lady Slipper at 1-5 on Friday. By the time this race meeting features, we'll know if she's delivered in that feature race. So he could have chosen any one of these 3 2-year-olds to come down to Hollywoodbets Scottsville, but he's chosen Direct Hit ahead of Golden Palm for this race. And he has an excellent line that Golden Palm has beaten 1-5 Winter and Elegantrix up in Gauteng. The plus as well, Graham, is that she's been on a float and she's been down to the Western Cape. So when it comes to traveling, that just takes out a bit of nervousness that I had with horses that are coming from other provinces, especially this filly from the Eastern Cape. So I think that's not an issue at all about her traveling, because she's been on a float before and she's delivered when she went down to the Western Cape. So she is a smart filly. We know how highly rated she is and how highly spoken of she is. And when you speak to the guys from Quebec, guys like Grant Paddock, who help us with the preview shows from that part of the world, they're very confident that this filly is possibly the best in the country when it comes to 2-year-old fillies. So she is no doubt the filly to beat, but the way One Fine Winter is coming along and the way she won that Pretty Polly Stakes last time out, I think she's only getting better and stronger with racing, so I'm not going to leave her out of the play. And then you saw that replay of Elegantrix. You know, experience at that course, Graham, you know for yourself, you know, through experience, that it is a big plus. So between 5 and 10, I think the winner should come from there. But if I had to tip them, I'll tip them 10, 5, and 7.
10, 5, and 7. I'm reading off exactly the same script. 10 Direct Hit, my first choice, ahead of 5 One Fine Winter and 7 Elegantrix. But like these and like the rest of the country, I guess, this jackpot carryover, there are a couple of very tricky legs. So I guess if you want to go against the grain, then you're going to look to beat numbers 5 One Fine Winter and 10 Direct Hit. But I'm not in that school of thought. I'm going with 10 Direct Hit and 5 One Fine Winter to hopefully get me off to a winning start in this carryover jackpot.
Well, race number 6 is the next Group 1 for the young horses, the Gold Medallion, and this is for a stake of 1.5 million. And at the time of recording, a very important scratching that came through on Thursday of number 3, Green Diamond. And of course, there were adjustments in the betting, which we'll read out once we go through an interview with Peter Muscat.
Yeah, he had an unconventional prep heading into his first start, so he had 2 little jump outs here at Summerfeld. He had a 4 furlong gallop on the Polly at Greyville, and then he headed straight to the races. So he was very green on debut, and I thought he did an amazing job to actually win. It looks like he's taken good natural improvement out of the race. His time for the race was good for a juvenile race at Scottsville, and I think his last 400 he came home in 22.3 or something like that. So that was a good indication of his ability. As I say, he has made good natural improvement. Out and out sprinter, I think. So he heads in good condition, but to be quite honest, I don't really know how good he is, but I think he deserves to take his place on Saturday. Yeah, I think you can draw a line through that run. There were mitigating factors against him performing to his best. The eventual winner lay on him the first couple of furlongs. She just lay on him, and he never got into any sort of rhythm, which he likes to do. He likes to roll along, and she just kept on nudging him every time he was trying to find a rhythm. The track on that day was ordinary, to say the least. Very shifty underfoot conditions. He's a low action horse, and I don't think he appreciated the ground. We certainly won't be getting that sort of ground on Saturday, so I think we'll see the best of him on Saturday. He's had a good prep in. He looks amazing. Hard to assess all the form, as you know, comparing provinces, but I think he's set to run to his best.
Well, as I mentioned, that the adjustments in the betting after the scratching of number 3, Green Diamond, is like so. Number 1, Zalatora, 7-2. 2, Good For You, is at 6-1. Then we have number 4, African Pride, at 7-2. 6, Little Boy Blue, Graham, at 7-1. 7, Military Command, at 7-2. 8, Charming Cheetah, at 7-2. And double figures the balance. Graham, I did message you when the scratching came through of number 3, Green Diamond, because that was your banker, and I'm sure many were looking at that horse as a banker in Jackpot 1 with that carryover. What's your train of thought now?
Well, the cat has been thrown amongst the pigeons here with the scratching of number 3, Green Diamond. But I do like what Peter Muscat has got to say about number 7, Military Command, because I know they think very highly of him. He was very impressive in the Western Cape. He won the 1.5 million rand Cape Slip, and he won it beating Dream World, who subsequently come out to win. And Dream World is considered to be well above the average. And interestingly, Good For You, who ran a close second in the Godolphin Barb behind Elegantrix, has run second to Dream World. Obviously, if you take that form literally, then Good For You has got the measure of number 7, Military Command, but I'm expecting better from number 7 Military Command, and it might be a case that when you're comparing the likes of Good For You and Military Command to Zalatoris and Charming Cheetah, that the Western Cape form might just be, I stress the word, might just be a little bit stronger. Little Boy Blue and African Pride ran first and third in the same race on debut. We heard encouraging report there from Peter Muscat that Little Boy Blue's progressed nicely. I would imagine if you interviewed Corne Spies, he would say the same about number 4 African Pride. But I'm sorely tempted, these, having initially thought I was going to bank a number 3 Green Diamond, who was quoted at odds on at the time of the scratching, that maybe a leap of faith, a small jackpot going 2 horses in the first leg. There will be cover perms as well, but the main small perm, 2 horses in the first leg, Banker Military Command and Field in the next 2 legs, and because they can produce real upsets. So I'm firmly in the camp of number 7 Military Command. But that being said, these 2-year-olds are relatively unexposed and open to any amount of improvement from one run to the next.
Okay, I think between Zalatoris, number 1, and Charming Cheetah, not much between them on their counting form lines. Both will be popular. Military Command could be the choice from the Peter Muscat stable. But for my money, the most interesting horse in the race is the Maiden. If you didn't race on the 18th of May and you didn't hear the comments from Corne Spies, if you heard them, well, let me refresh. A proper racehorse. Graham, we know that Corne Spies has had lovely 2-year-olds. He's tasted success at the highest level. Group 1 winners. I think Van Halen would have been his last Group 1 winner. This horse weighs over 600 kgs. He's a monster. And Corne Spies says whatever happened that day, you'll see him at the end of the month for this Group 1. He rates the horse very highly. And this horse, African Pride, he was a bit green, but they're entitled to be. Watch him in the parade ring, and I'll try and get a comment on race day from Corne Spies how this horse has come on, because he's a maiden, he's taking on a cracked field here, but just on what I heard from Corne Spies first up, I think there's lots more to come. So I'm going to lean towards him as possibly an each-way choice here against very strong quality, Graham. A maiden against this field, but it looks like a tough race. 1, 4, 7, and 8 for the jackpot.
Thank you, Dees. Yeah, it's a tough race. And the result is certainly in the balance. D's quite strong on number 4, African Pride, but I think maybe number 7, Military Command, we'll see the best version of him. Race 7, the 1 million rand South African Filly Sprint, Grade 1 at weight for age over 1,200 metres. The SA Filly Sprint brought to you by The Witness. It is race 7, which means it's also the first leg of Jackpot 2. The off time is 14:40. We have a field of 15 quality fillies and mares. Before we get into any form of discussion, we're going to show you a rerun of My Sensation winning the Poinsettia Stakes. Asia Pambili also features there, as does Symphony in White. And then we have interviews from Justin Snaith, Duncan Howells, and Dean Cannameyer.
Marker now, and on the inside Sources Supreme, on the outside Asia Pambili, over on the inside Dusting Rockapina, My Sensation's trying to get into the race, and Symphony in White's a big runner on the outside. Asia Pambili, My Sensation, and on the outside Symphony in White, Asia Pambili and My Sensation. I think My Sensation won it. Asia Pambili second, and third place will go to Symphony in White.
Look, she's flying at home. But at Scottsville, to be honest, Sea Cottage got beat at Scottsville. And you just never know how a horse can take to the track. It is a very tricky place for a horse, especially in their first start there. But I've got her as well as I can have her. She may be a touch on the heavy side, but it's certainly a race to bring her on for the Garden Province. There's no other options. It's the only way I can get her ready for the Garden Province. So we're going to take our chances here, and she's a class act, make no mistake. And I'm quietly confident of a good run here. There's obviously 2 horses that do worry me. It's Gareth van Zyle's filly. She's the sprinter, the best sprinter of the bunch. And obviously Riskova is always, you've got to have a lot of respect for. But filly's well, so let's hope for a good outing.
So much you can say about what happened last year, but look, she's holding her form. She did extremely well in Cape Town. She's come back to Durban. Her first run back was a very good run at the weights. She needed that run very badly that day. She hadn't had a lot of work going into it because of the weather conditions. I feel the filly's improved. She's a much fitter horse going into this race. It is an open-looking race. There's 2 Group 1 fillies of Justin Snaith and Sean Terry's that you have to respect, and a couple of fillies from Joburg. But she's an honest filly and she's a good filly, and I think she'll give a very, very good account of herself.
She's a filly she's got lots of class. She's got the ability to match some of the best fillies, I think, around the country. And her previous run she ran second in the 1400 Grade 3. And last run she was travelling well, and she didn't finish her race off. There were a few coughs afterwards. We've looked into that, and she seems to be okay. Work is always good. I mean, she has got loads of ability. You could see last year in Alan Robertson, she ran a fantastic race here. I think it only starts here at Scottsville, and but at her very best, you've got to respect her.
Very interesting renewal of the South African filly sprint. The betting: number 1 Double Grand Slam, Grade 1 winner 9-2. Number 5 Raskova, Grade 1 winner at 7-1. Number 8, Mia Moo, is in the form of her life, having won the Senor Santa last time. That's at 6-1. 10, Asia Pambili is at 5-1. The rest are in double figures. And just to clarify the reference that Justin Snaith made in his interview package to Gareth Van Zyle's filly, well, of course, that's now trained again by Duncan Howells. Gareth Van Zyl trained Asia Pambili in the Western Cape during that campaign, but she's back with Duncan Howells. We all remember that we fancied her strongly last year, Dees, and unfortunately Rachel parted company with Asia Pambili as the gates opened, so we couldn't judge anything on that. But she's one of my favourite fillies in training. Hollywood Racing looking for their first Grade 1. They've had a lot of winners. We know they passed the 100 mark, but they're looking for their first Grade 1 winner of the season, and Asia Pambili could just deliver that trophy to them. Obviously both Double Grand Slam and Raskova running over distances short of their best, but they have the class. But to cut to the chase, while this race is wide open, as I referenced earlier when suggesting a kind of a jackpot structure, I'm really hoping that Asia Pambili gets the job done. I think she's cherry ripe for this race. She should turn the poinsettia form around with My Sensation and Symphony in White at these weights. So I'm quite strongly in the camp of number 10, Asia Pambili.
No doubt she's the filly to beat, Graham, and just on pure weight turnaround, if you do the math between herself and Mere Sensation, we saw in that replay, just got the better of her. It's 7 kgs that's now in the favour of Asia Pambili. That's a lot of weight. And Duncan Howells mentioned, I didn't have it fully fit last time out. She's come on, and he will be trying to make amends when she was very strongly fancied to possibly win this last year, as Graham mentioned. Hard luck stories there. But number 10, Asia Pambili, she's no doubt the filly to beat on what she's proven down in the Western Cape and what she's beaten there. The fact that her last start would bring her on a ton. Once you start looking past her, then you're looking for, a result and to drop tickets. Many will include Double Grand Slam after Justin Snaith's comments. Raskova and Double Grand Slam, there's really not much between them throughout their careers, regardless of the distance, but they both yet to win over 1200. Symphony of White had a good warm-up run the other day, running on smartly. And then the Hall and Wall of Famer at Hollywoodbets Scottsville is Sean Terry. Ignore At Your Peril. He's got number 7, Mrs. Browning, and 8, Mia Moo. And if I have to include one more runner, well, I am looking towards this horse called Just Be Lacko to possibly raise a game to the next level. A tough race, Graham. Once you look past number 10, I agree with you, it becomes a race where you are looking for a bomb results, because the money could be on the button here. 6-1 into 9-2 at the time of recording. Number 10, Asia Pambili.
Yeah, Asia Pambili, definitely the one to beat. Just to add to that long list of dangers that you mentioned, I've given up a little bit on number 14, Gimmy's Countess, but would I be shocked if she won? She was desperately unlucky in last year's Alan Robertson. And the fact that she's drawn on the stand side as opposed to getting blocked for a run on the far running rail might just count in her favour, but it's just her last run in the Poinsettia Stakes was just too bad to be true. So for Dees and myself, we're in the camp of number 10, Asia Pambili.
Well, we're on to race number 8, the Golden Horse Sprint, a Group 2, 1200 meters for a stake of 1 million. So before we have a look at the field, we got a rerun and interview with Dean Kannemeyer.
They're followed further back by Hit Them Hard Sunshine, Bourbon Warrior on the inside, and African Skylines trying to have a go at the leader. Coming to the 200, and Ziasha's a big runner. Ziasha, Hit Them Hard Sunshine's also running on strongly on the outside. It's Ziasha in front over the last 100. Hit Them Hard Sunshine, Future Variety, but Ziasha won it. Second will go to Hit Them Hard Sunshine, and then came Future Variety.
I thought it was a very good run last time in full flight stakes. You know, last year was in Durban, but in Runham he just didn't do well at all. But we gave him a lengthy break. We took him back to Cape Town, and they were waiting for the spring and the summer, and prepped him for the Merchants, which he won exceptionally well. And then we gave him another break. I thought we'd set him up for this race. And I think he comes with a nice galloping weight. In full flight stakes was a very good performance with a top weight, and could only have brought him on. Competitive race. But on form like that, he's got to be a competitive runner.
I must agree with Dean Kannemeyer 100% with everything that he mentioned there. The weight the horse carried last time out, the fact that he's better off at the weights with a horse that beat him called Otaniqua. It could be very cleverly handicapped for this race, Graham. Number 5, Outlook King. But let's have a look at some markets before we get your thoughts. Horse number 4, Future Variety, from 16 to 1 into 12 to 1. That's the market anti-post support. 5, Outlook King at 8 to 1. Number 7, Fairy Knight, the visitor from the Alan Krief stable, who is an absolute star in the Eastern Cape at 8 to 1. 8, Truth at 8 to 1. Then we go on to Otaniqua that opened up 10 to 1, and punters thought, wow, that was too generous. That has shortened into 7 to 1. Number 12, Otaniqua, and number 16, Tenango, is at 11 to 2. Grandma outright choice is the interview that they had with Dean Kannemeyer, because this horse, Outlook King, he is a very useful horse on his day. It's clear to see that this is his favorite trip, all 4 of his wins over 1200. I mentioned the way, he's just been placed off his rating, coming in with 54 kgs, having watched his last start, the way he finished off. I'm going to tip him first, number 5, Outlook King, to beat the horse that beat him last time out in Otaniqua for second. Then number I've written it down, but I'm wanting to change now because okay, I'm going to go with it. 11, Malek, because I think the pace is going to be on. Nice to have Roy Magna. Go and have a look at last year's running of this race, where Lucky Lad was the winner. This horse finished in a very quick time, so he knows the course. The quicker they go, the better it'll suit him. So I'm tipping 11, Malek, for third. And my 4th choice, Graham, is going to be Sergey. He may just need the run, but I like him for trifectas and quartets and maybe a possible upset. So my numbers here, Graham, in order of preference this time round: 5, Outlook King to beat 12, Otaniqua, 11, Malek, and 15, Sergey.
Well, we're not on the same page in this race, but that doesn't surprise me, because this is the most competitive renewal of the Golden Horse Sprint that I have ever seen or ever had the pleasure of attending. For me, it's a big field, it's a big F. There's not a single horse that, if it comes out and wins, would be a surprise to me. I think the presence of Fairy Knight and Cruise Control from the Eastern Cape adds a lot of intrigue. Remember, Cruise Control only got beat head in this race last year by Lucky Lad. And Fairy Knight, well, his record speaks for itself. We could go on and on and on, because there isn't a single horse that I would draw lines through. But I've had an each-way strike. I'm happy with my each-way strike. I backed number 4, Future Variety, each way. I was fortunate enough to get a bit of 20 to 1. He has now shortened into 12 to 1. It's a speculative bet. He hasn't won for a long time. He never runs a bad race in defeat. He rattled home in 22.3 for the final 400 meters in his prep run over 1,000 meters behind Zayasha last time out. But really, Outlaw King, obviously respect on his Cape Merchants form. It does worry me that he was priced up originally as favourite, and he's sliding in the market with each passing day. So I'm not sure if that's any kind of an indication, because this race is so wide open. Every single one of them have each way claims in what, as I said, for me, is the most competitive Golden Horse Sprint that I've ever seen.
Okay, this is going to be the last leg of that carryover. Jackpot races 5, 6, 7, and it closes here in race number 8. And whatever the result, hopefully you standing in the winner's queue in race number 8. It's the main event, the Golden Horse Sprint, a Group 2 over 1,200 meters, and it looks like a quartet that you want to play.
Ninth race on the card is the Gimme a Prince 2023 Middle Stakes over 1,200 metres. It's the first leg of the final double. It's the penultimate race on the card. Goes off at 15.50. And before we go any further, we have an interview with Justin Snaith and Peter Muscat.
Yes, I probably would have preferred running him at Greyville because I think a lot of the other races are there, but he needs to just get out there now. He's been up here since the beginning. He looks amazing. Also, might just need it. But over 1,200 at Scottsville, downhill, how fit do you have to be, you know? Looks amazing. Very fortunate to get Gavin. None of my guys, they're all on other horses, and Gavin was available. So let's hope for a good, positive run. Could be a horse worth following.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, we had a throw at the stumps with him to see if he was going to see out the mile, because on pedigree he should. But he's a very speedy horse, and I think his forte will be sprinting, so I think you can just draw a line through that run. He's worked solidly in the lead up. Unfortunately, he did get penalised. Although he ran last in the Guineas, he still copped a 7 or 8 pound penalty, but he's still probably under the radar from a handicapping perspective. He is drawn right on the outside, which, as we know, is not normally a advantageous draw, but he has got very good gate speed. He's in good order, and I expect a good performance from him.
I like those comments from Peter Muscat. He copped a penalty in the Guineas, but still under the radar. So he's clearly not too concerned about the hike in merit rating. And consider that in his penultimate start, he beat Nkwele by nearly 3 lengths, and then Nkwele came out to win by 6. That's very solid form. He's only had the 4 starts as 3-year-old son of Erupt. I know it may be a negative D's that he's drawn on the stand side. We will have had the opportunity to see how the Golden Horse Sprint and the SA Filly Sprint pan out before the running of race 9 in terms of the exotic bets that you can play on the race itself. Obviously, once you've committed yourself to the pick 6 and to jackpot 2 and to the place accumulators, you can't undo what you've selected. But for me, number 15, Isivani Vani is the top choice. I've healthy respect for number 5, Ermbel D. I've seen him in action in the Western Cape. He's a nice type. He's a progressive type, and I don't think he's going to end his career as a 2-time winner. The betting appears to have it pretty accurate, although they're betting wide. They are betting, let's be honest, 9-2 the field. That in itself tells a story. There are probably many others that have the ability and the potential to upset the apple cart. Number 2, Vian's Web, was a good winner last time out. I'm not sure about number 3, Guy Gibson. I think he might have to step up on the form that he's shown recently, but he does get the services of Andrew Fortune. But if there's one runner that I would certainly throw into trifectas and quartets, it would be number 6, Bourbon Warrior.
Okay, the betting is like this, Graham. Number 2, Vian's Web, from 100 to 1 last time out, is now 6 to 1. Number 3, Guy Gibson, 7 to 1. 5, Unbel D at 5 to 1. Then we go on to Iseva Vane, who I'm going to say on this show, I could be way off, that 5 to 1 looks a ridiculous price about this horse. I'll tell you why, Graham. That long layoff in 2024, first run back fresh, wins over 1,200, makes it look easy. And the second start straight into the best, some of the best 3-year-olds in the country, in the Guineas. And he spoke about the penalty, etc. But, you know, maybe that was just a bit too soon, too quick for me. Now, third run, peak run, 1,200 meters, the way he won over 1,200. I think this horse is way under the radar on ability. And I think 5 to 1 looks a generous price. If you are wanting to go narrow in the last leg of the pick 6, just try to minimize your spend in one of your perms. I'm going to suggest banker this horse, number 15, Isevavane, and have a go at 5 to 1. Of the balance of the runners, if you're looking for cover, you know, number 3, Guy Gibson, I respect the Gauteng form. 5, Unbel D. I have a train of thought that maybe 1,000 meters better, 1,200 at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. Yes, we know that, Justin, it's a downhill when they start off, but when they come up to that winning post, it's uphill. You need to be fit. 6, Bourbon Warrior, if he jumps on terms, he could be there. And number 7, Agrado. This is one don't leave this out of quartets and trifectas. I don't know what happened last time out, but I know that God Puller rates the horse. So does Serena Moodley. And number 10, License to Thrill. So I've given you some numbers to play around, but I'm very big on this horse, Isevavane, Graham, on what I've seen to date and the fact that he'll be spot on for this 1200 meter trip after that lengthy layoff back in 2024, and 5-1 looks attractive.
Third runner's a gelding for number 15, Issy Vivani, so we're both in his camp. For me, the principal danger could be number 6, Bourbon Warrior, with healthy respect for number 5, Earn Bell D. But that's a wrap for race 9.
Okay, hopefully the place accumulator has arrived and the pick 6, so maybe a percentage has arrived. You've collected race number 9 and you just want to have a dip here in race number 10. Well, it's a class 5. It's over 1200 meters. What to go for a punt on the head? Very, very difficult. We've done with our interviews and our reruns, Graham, so we're going to bring up the field and just have a look at some betting. Number 1, Kotinos, hasn't won for 534 days. Gavin Larena will ride the horse for the first time in his career, as having his 38th start, 4-1. Then number 3 is now a scratching at the time of recording. Number 4, One Irish Rover, is at 4-1. Very good form of late if you ignore that 1 run, 3 starts back. Then we have number 6, Cotton Ron, who's trading at 8-1. Always seems to run a very honest race, Graham, and I think trifectas and quartets are must. Now I Got You took forever for that second career win, but that third win came quick, which was last time out. So on a hat-trick now, with the apprentice claiming 4. Number 8, Double Olympic, another horse that took forever for that second career win. Did get it right at the penultimate run, and I thought followed up with a fair run last time out. That's trading at 6-1. Form update for number 10, Indecent Proposal, finished 4th to Purple Operator midweek. And then we have number 11, Dancing Dora, who I'm going to give a mention to, but hasn't won to 914 days. It's the usual suspects when it comes to these type of races. They seem to bump each other regularly, form reversals, form turnarounds. Can't pick out a horse here, Graham, as an outright selection, but I think punters will do well to try and minimize their spend in jackpot 2.
It is a complicated, obviously low-grade handicap, class 5 handicap, as you've mentioned, but I'm not surprised that eventually number 7, Now I Got You, has found form. As a 2-year-old at this course, over this trip, he was placed in the gold medallion. He was grade 1 placed as a 2-year-old. He got that very high rating. It's taken him an awful long time, as you mentioned, to get back into some kind of winning form. But now that he has, and he's found his feet. I know he's now carrying 62, less the 4 for apprentice Damien. Is it Damien Lowe?
The first
Damien Lowe. I think it is Damien Lowe, but my apologies if I've got that wrong. He's never had a winner. He's got to wait until the 10th race. From what I see in the front of the computer form, this is only his 3rd career ride. What a way for him to open his account on if it was to happen on the final race on Golden Horse Sprint Day. So I'm expecting number 7, Now I Got You, to complete the hat-trick at the expense of number 4, One Irish Rover, whom he beat last time out. As you say, One Irish Rover did at least also in his penultimate start beat Purple Powerhouse, so eventually came out to win during the course of the week. But you're right, Dees, it is a class 5. There is always the potential for an upset. Indecent Proposal, there's a form update, ran 4th behind the now scratched Purple Powerhouse on the 28th of May. But I'm going to suggest that perhaps, however you play the last race quartet, that one of them, you take your chances and bank the number 7, Now I Got You, to win, because I'm expecting him to complete the hat-trick.
Graham, apologies to the young kid. His name is Dazan Lowe. So we're not going to forget that. We'll think of Lausanne when we think of Lowe and include Dazan. So number 7, Now I Got You. Dazan Lowe is the apprentice. Graham likes that. So Graham's going to go in with 7 and I'm going to go in with 4. So 4 and 7 going to be the play up as roving bankers in race number 10. And Graham, just in summarizing, we wish all the racing fans well. We got that carryover to look forward to, is 500,000 Rand to jackpot 1. Graham, we'll be on the bus with racing fans. I'm looking forward to being in your company. We won't be on the same bus. You've got such a big number from the years gone by that you had to hire 2 buses this year.
Yeah, the demand this year, unbelievable. It's fantastic to see. We welcome the new whole Race Coast era, and this is the first big grade 1 meeting since Race Coast was unveiled yesterday, being Thursday. We record this on a Friday morning. 2 full buses. I'm hosting the one, you hosting the other. It's just it's something we've done over the last 5 or 6 years. I can't remember when we introduced it first up, but it sets the scene for a wonderful day's racing. The camaraderie on the bus is fantastic, and I know it's your debut effort on the bus,
Yeah,
but you'll
looking
enjoy
forward to it.
You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it.
Okay, for Graham Hawkins, for Gallop TV, and myself, Dees9, and to you, the valued racing fan, hopefully it turns out to be one of those wonderful days if you are playing at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. Until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gasly.